How hard is it to cut a Negro's hair? That question might never have become newsworthy except for attempts to integrate barbershops. White barbers, not wishing to serve Negro patrons, make the argument that they are not trained to cut a Negro's hair. The argument has been made both north and south, and we've seen examples of it in recent months. CBS News correspondent Lou Wood had the argument made to him in Savannah, Georgia, when he asked a barbershop owner what would be the impact on his shop of integration.
We're not trained to cut their hair, so the colored hair, so I don't think we could exist in business.
What about your regular clientele? How would they feel?
Well, most of them already expressed themselves and said they wouldn't patronize us if we did.
The argument is made in the North, too. This is Phil's barbershop over in Madison, New Jersey, where CBS News reporter Josh Darcer talked to a barber, Phil Gatty.
Gatty, have you ever had trouble like this before?
Never in my life, never.
Have you ever cut the hair of colored people
never,
before? Why
never.
not?
Because I don't know how to do it.
You mean there's a special technique involved?
It's a special technique. It's hard to do it. That's easy if you know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. That's not easy for me to do it.
How valid is the argument? Is it more difficult to cut a Negro's hair? This is Vaughn's Barber School in New York City. People come here to learn how to cut hair, and CBS News visited this barber school to learn the answer for itself. How long have you been cutting hair?
Oh, about 20 years.
How long have you been teaching hair cutting?
8 years.
Do you find any difference between cutting the hair of a Negro and a white man?
Oh, yes, there is a difference.
What is that difference?
Well, you have to use different blades, and then sometimes you have to use machine and comb in order to get the perfect thickness in the cut.
If a barber didn't know how to use them, how long would it take him to learn it?
Well, within a couple of months, he's able to shape up a good haircut where the customer becomes satisfied.
Do you find it difficult to cut a Negro's hair?
No, I don't.
Do you find it similar to cutting a white man's hair?
No, there are two different techniques in cutting hair. And,
what's the difference in those techniques?
Well, in the application of the clipper, we use a different edge for Negro's hair.
You mean it's a difference of instrument rather than skill?
Yes, sir.
And you get special training then to cut a Negro's hair?
Yes, sir. We are taught the two different ways to cut hair and the different methods to use on Negroes and whites.
Is it a difficult skill to learn?
No, it isn't.
Does it take any more time to learn than cutting a white man's hair?
No, I don't believe so.
Have you ever been turned away from a barber shop?
No.
Have any barbers ever mentioned on the difficulty in giving you haircuts?
No, they haven't. I have a white fella on 26th Street. He cuts my hair every other week, and he don't ever complain. He said that he can cut mine just like you do any of the rest, white or color.
Gregory, what did you do when you weren't going to school?
Well, I have got water, I've cut wood, I've played ball, and I'll help clean off of the yard. We have a little beaver dam down below our house, and sometimes I go fishing with my cousin.
Is that more fun than going to school?
No, sir.
Gregory, why did you want to go to school?
To learn.
To learn what?
I want to learn how to read, and I want to learn a whole lot of things. I want to learn how to do hard arithmetic.
Gregory, do you want to keep on going to school?
Yes, sir. I can read little easy books by myself, but hard books, I can't read them.
For Gregory Watkins, the inner meaning of today's Supreme Court ruling is a very simple thing. He will get to learn to read the hard books, and it will provide the same symbolic fulfillment next fall for the 1,600 boys and girls like him in Prince Edward County. Beyond that, it's the consensus of constitutional experts here that Mr. Justice Black's language constitutes a shift of landmark proportions in regard to the tempo of public school integration in the future. And this is held to be implicit in Black's comment, the time for mere deliberate speed has run out. Now, it's true the High Court did today turn back to lower court re-examination, a case demanding a change in the slow pace of Atlanta public school integration. But the thrust of the Prince Edward decision is regarded as extending to all pending cases, and as intended, more importantly, to serve plain notice that in the field of the court's responsibility, its collective tolerance and patience with foot-dragging implementation has run out. This is CBS News correspondent Martin Negronsky in Washington.
What's your forecast of what's going to happen out here in the next few days?
Well, it looks clear that Senator Goldwater will be the Republican nominee, and I think that sounds the death knell of the Republican Party.
What about demonstrations? Are they going to be larger and larger, or what?
During the convention, the demonstrations will increase in size and in importance, and if the senator from Arizona is the Republican nominee, then he can expect that during the campaign, wherever he goes, there will be pickets with him.
Well, what could the Republicans have done that would not have alienated the Negro voter, in your opinion?
Well, they could have come out with a strong civil rights plank, for one thing, which they did not do. They could have rejected and repudiated those of their members who voted against the Civil Rights Bill, including Goldwater, those who voted against cloture, including Goldwater. This they have not done. And they still have a chance to unseat those delegates from certain states in our country who were elected through machinery which discriminates against Negroes, specifically from the southern states.
Yes. Well, would a strong civil rights plank and Senator Goldwater have made everything all right as far as you're concerned?
A strong civil rights plank and Senator Goldwater would have been a contradiction, because Senator Goldwater's views are not for a strong civil rights plank. I think that nothing could save the Republican Party as far as the Negro voters are concerned with Senator Goldwater as their standard bearer.
Well, Mike, right after he took office, Lyndon Johnson said to an associate, Barry Goldwater will be the Republican nominee. Even right after the first of the year, when the Goldwater forces put forth at least the mirage of having had it, particularly after New Hampshire, President Johnson was quoted by a friend as saying, so Barry lost New Hampshire. He still has the Republicans' grassroots, and he will win the nomination. There's never been much doubt, as far as Lyndon Johnson was concerned, that Barry Goldwater would be his opponent in November. Just exactly what kind of campaign the president plans, no one knows, but when you talk to his aides, you get the distinct impression that the president will move at least slightly toward the center, if not toward the right, in that the so-called liberals have no place to go. The northeastern states, New York in particular, President Johnson would have been perhaps concerned about it at least a bit if anyone but Barry Goldwater had been the Republican nominee. The president also can be expected to make a short campaign, if nothing else, out of necessity, since the Democrats don't hold their convention until the last week of August. The president will be most concerned about the civil rights issue. It's believed that he doesn't think the Republicans can make a great deal of headway in foreign policy as a campaign issue, but that he is concerned about what he calls a dirty campaign, not from Senator Goldwater himself, but by those who are working in behalf of the senator. As far as Senator Goldwater's attacks on President Johnson are concerned, or the attack that he takes, the Johnson camp is fully confident that Goldwater personally will do all he can to see that President Johnson is not attacked in any personal way, but such issues as the Billy Saul Estes case, the Bobby Baker case, and the Johnson family fortune and how it got to be a fortune will be dealt with considerably by the Goldwater forces if the Johnson camp figures correctly. Mike?
Not a phony friend like Johnson. He's a real friend because he respects the individual, and 20 years from now, you'll know what he means by to say that. No, I don't agree with Wallace at all. Across the board, no. Wallace, to me, Wallace is a bigot. To me. Goldwater is not a bigot, and you all know it. He is not a bigot, and his record shows it. You guys are hurting yourselves. He voted against the Civil Rights Bill to oppose the Constitution.
This problem is a human problem. It is your problem. If you think the race problem is just the Negro's problem, it is your problem, and unless it is solved, I am convinced our country hasn't a chance. And what about the travesty of justice that is being perpetrated in our courts here in San Francisco right now? Have you gone down there and seen?
No,
you have judges that that stand there
That is
and...
not a travesty of justice.
What do you call it?
It is not a travesty
When a
of justice.
judge stands and tells a jury that these niggers and poor white trash are guilty before they even go to be tried, you try to tell me. I sat there and heard the man do it.
I beg to differ with you. A man named Joseph Kennedy, a member of your own race, named Joseph Kennedy, sentenced the Negro race, sentenced a very large degree.
You see, the trouble, you see me first as a Negro, and then as a human, I'm first a human being.
Telling him how he sees
Well, man,
because I see the way he responds. I'm looking at it.
You got the inside dope on my eyeballs.
A Negro that remains sane, by the time if he can't do this by the time he's 5 years old, he's nuts.
You know, that's like
if
the man.
If he remains sane, he can operate on
You know,
that
that's like
level.
the man walking on the beach with a kind of a skimpy bathing suit, and he's saying, "I know you're all looking at me like I'm nude." No, he isn't.
I don't see you now,
Now you just wait a minute. You've talked to me long enough to know I don't look at you that way.
I've talked to you long enough. That's right. And I'm going home.
Let's go!
Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! Must go! Go water! Must go! Go water! Must go! White House! Go water! Must go! To the White House! 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 My vote! Mine! I want to tell you all! I want to tell you all!
Black power.
You don't agree with that?
No, sir. No kind of
we don't care nothing about the power. It don't make no difference whether it's black power, white power. We want right power. We ain't looking for that kind of stuff. We don't want it, and we ain't gonna have it over here.
What happened to this fire over here?
Like they burning down. We're just here to say that the black community is where I belong, and I'm gonna stay here, and can't no white racist run me out. We've got a statement we're gonna read. We're going all over Atlanta today. I'm gonna be here. They're getting ready to draw me up and charge me with insurrection. And what they're doing is they're trying me in the papers. They're calling me guilty in the papers, and then they're going to arrest me so nobody will be willing to defend me. See, that's what they're going to do. They're dividing us again like they've always done all our lives. Racist Allen has said that Snick has been run out of the black community. We're here, baby, and this is where we're going to stay. And we will stay, and we will keep on fighting racism, including the racism of Mayor Allen and his police force and all of his lies. Ivan Allen is not a white king, and we are not his black subjects. Racist Mayor Allen of Atlanta is framing the black people of this city and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Allen is saying that we are responsible for the revolt of the black community. The revolt was and is against the bestiality of a racist mayor and his corrupt police force, and that's where it belongs.
When Carmichael left, SNCC worker William Ware tried and failed to get an audience.
I go for your black power, but you should have did it before you left where you came from, Mississippi.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cry of black power started in Mississippi. The cry of black power.
We ain't gonna step here in Atlanta. We don't want you here. You wasn't born here, you wasn't raised here. Go to Mississippi.
The cry of black power started in Mississippi and went across the world.
That there is anger in the ghetto has been overproved. This discussion is about who now shall get the anger and how it shall be used. It is urgent. John Hart, CBS News, in a place called Vine City, Atlanta.